When someone ignores you, your immediate reaction is often to seek their attention. Anxiety kicks in, and you feel a strong urge to do anything to get that person to notice you, respond to you, or validate you. This is where a critical error happens. Acting out of desperation means you lose control over yourself and give your emotional power away to the other person. This isn't only a sign of an unresolved inner wound, it's also why the other person tends to pull away even more. Carl Jung explained that the human mind is influenced by unconscious forces that cause us to repeat the same patterns until we become aware of them. If you feel anxious when someone ignores you, it's because deep down there is a fear of abandonment that hasn't been addressed. Instead of bringing you closer, this fear traps you in your own emotions. The need for approval and the urgency to be seen push you to behave in ways that repel rather than attract. When you chase someone who is distancing themselves, you send out a signal of lack. You are basically saying, "I am not enough without your validation." The other person's unconscious mind senses this. No matter how much you try to prove your worth or demand their acknowledgement, if your energy is rooted in fear, emptiness, and dependence, the result will be the opposite of what you want. The real issue is that many people believe love and attention from others define their value. But in truth, what defines us is the relationship we have with ourselves. Jung called this process individuation, the journey of becoming whole without relying on outside approval. Here is the paradox. When you stop desperately seeking someone's attention, that person unconsciously starts to notice your absence. This isn't a mind game, it's because your energy has changed. You have stopped projecting neediness and begun reconnecting with yourself. And that is the true key. What genuinely attracts others is not pressure or insistence, but authenticity and inner strength. To reach this point, you must first stop resisting the shadow inside you. When someone ignores you, what hurts most isn't their absence, but the meaning you attach to their indifference. You might feel unworthy, as if you did something wrong, or believe there's something about you that doesn't deserve attention. But this is a projection of your own shadow. Jung described the shadow as the part of ourselves we reject because it conflicts with the image we want to show the world. When ignored, that shadow surfaces, forcing us to confront fears of invisibility, rejection, and abandonment. If you haven't accepted that part of yourself, you'll respond from that wound, rushing to send messages, anxiously checking their online status, searching for signs they still care. But this isn't love, it's fear disguised as desire. The more you act from fear, the more you reveal a lack of self-control. What you need to do is the opposite of your instincts. Instead of chasing or trying to force a reaction, the effective approach is to step into detachment, not as giving up, but because you realize your worth doesn't depend on someone else's attention. When you achieve this, a remarkable shift occurs. Jung called it psychic synchronization. When energies align after an internal change, if you stop needing validation, the other person will sense it. Even if you don't get an immediate response, when you disappear from their awareness and no longer act from lack, they start wondering why you are gone and why your energy feels different. But this only works if you genuinely release the need for a reply. If you do it hoping they will come back, you remain trapped in the same cycle. You don't need strategic absence. You need inner presence. You must become someone who feels complete without depending on others. Next time you feel the urge to insist, pause, and observe what's happening inside you, ask yourself, is this love or fear? If it's fear, the only way to break the cycle is not by seeking their attention, but by facing what you have been avoiding within yourself. True transformation happens when you act from the certainty of your own value, not from anxiety. When you stop chasing and become the center of your own world, the whole dynamic changes. When someone ignores you, the real challenge isn't your connection with them, but the relationship you have with yourself. Jung said that most external conflicts are reflections of unresolved inner struggles. When you feel rejected or ignored, it triggers a story from your unconscious. Maybe childhood moments when you felt unseen or learned that to be loved, you had to try harder. Now, when someone ignores you, you fall back into that childlike belief that if you just push enough, they will finally notice you. But this is a mental trap. The more you try to be seen, the more you reinforce the idea that you aren't enough on your own. Jung explained that the unconscious mind can't tell the difference between reality and symbolism. If you feel worthless without someone's attention, your mind accepts this as absolute truth and keeps reinforcing the pattern. But if you use their indifference as a chance to strengthen your self-worth and rediscover yourself, you take the first step toward deep change. Many people fail here. Instead of using the distance to grow, they obsess more, replaying thoughts, imagining scenarios, desperately searching for signs of hope. What they don't realize is they're wasting energy on something beyond their control. The more you focus on the other person, the less energy you have for yourself. The key is not to ignore someone out of revenge, nor to use absence as a manipulation tactic. Real change happens when you no longer depend on someone else's presence to feel whole. When you understand your value isn't tied to whether someone notices you or not, the other person unconsciously senses a shift in you. This isn't magic or manipulation, it's a simple psychological truth. Attraction comes from balance. A person who isn't desperate to be seen, who doesn't beg for attention, who doesn't center their life around someone else, becomes magnetic. But this must be genuine. If you're still hoping for a reaction, you're projecting neediness, and the cycle repeats. One of the hardest emotional struggles we face is the fear of being ignored. It wounds the ego, shakes self-esteem, and triggers insecurities we might not even be aware of. When ignored, our minds try to fill the gap with explanations, wondering if we said something wrong, if we pushed them away, or if we should have acted differently. We start doubting ourselves, often concluding we are at fault. In doing so, without realizing it, we give the other person power they don't deserve. They become more than someone who stepped back. They control our emotions, mental peace, and self-worth. Jung taught that our mind is a battlefield between conscious and unconscious. One common trap is projecting our fears onto others. The pain from being ignored isn't just about their absence. It's about what that absence means to us, activating a deep fear of not being important or worthy. But the truth is, when someone ignores you, it's not always about you. Many reasons can cause someone to distance themselves, often related to their own struggles rather than anything you did. Most people don't see it this way. They take indifference personally as proof of their inadequacy. In reality, it shows the other person is dealing with their own battles. This is where your real power lies. Instead of getting stuck in uncertainty or trying to guess what they're thinking, use this time to reclaim your energy and focus on yourself. Don't waste thoughts on someone who isn't giving you their time. Redirect that energy toward your growth and strength. A common mistake is trying to fill the silence with more words, gestures, or attempts to prove your worth. But the most effective move is to do the opposite. Disappear with intention, not as a punishment or strategy, but because you recognize that you can't force a connection with someone unwilling to engage. Something interesting happens here. When you stop being available and fade from their awareness, the other person notices your absence, not because you're manipulating them, but because your energy has changed. Because your energy has shifted, you no longer project desperation. You stop sending the message that you need to be noticed. What once felt certain, your presence, your interest, your availability, now becomes uncertain. This is often when the person who once ignored you begins to reach out again. Not because you are playing a game, but because the energy has changed. What was easy to overlook now feels like a void. Here's the important part. By the time this happens, you will have changed too. You will no longer be waiting or in the same emotional state. When the person who ignored you finally returns, it is natural to feel mixed emotions, relief, but also discomfort. Their return tests the transformation you have undergone. This moment is about reaffirming your own path, not falling back into old patterns. It's not about reacting impulsively or letting the past control the present. Instead, it's about staying true to the new version of yourself, one who has grown stronger through self-awareness and inner work. In these moments, your subconscious may try to pull you back into old behaviors where your sense of worth depended on another's approval. But if you have learned to recognize and accept this shadow side, you will understand that true growth means responding with calm and confidence. This is not about closing the door on reconciliation, but doing so from a place of personal power, where you're no longer trying to fill a void or heal old wounds. The key is to watch your emotions closely. Allow yourself to feel everything that comes up without judgment or rushing into decisions that could undo your progress. When reconnecting, your inner wisdom should guide you. Ask yourself, am I reacting out of fear or from certainty in my own value? Am I letting the past drag me back, or am I fully present, making choices with integrity? Each answer brings you closer to truly integrating your shadow, the process Jung described as essential for a fulfilling life. If you feel tempted to slip into old habits, remember, every experience is a lesson. The return of this person is not random. It is an opportunity. It might be a chance to rebuild the relationship from a healthier place, or a moment to affirm your emotional independence. What matters most is that, no matter the situation, you do not sacrifice your inner peace or authenticity for external approval. Your worth isn't measured by whether someone stays or leaves, but by your ability to remain steady in your true self, even when outside circumstances challenge your stability. Every step you take towards strengthening your personal power is a victory over past insecurities. It proves that true freedom comes from harmony between your conscious and unconscious minds. As the emotional storm of reunion settles and calm returns, you reach the next stage of growth, consolidating your progress and building relationships. Based on authenticity and healthy boundaries, you no longer react impulsively to every action or silence. Instead, you develop a deeper awareness that sees every experience, every pause, every distant look, as a lesson guiding you toward greater self-knowledge. From this higher level of awareness, each interaction reinforces your emotional independence. You realize that needing external validation doesn't define your value. So how you respond to silence or indifference reflects your commitment to your own growth. Instead of filling a perceived emptiness with fear or desperation, you now nurture your inner world and strengthen your relationship with yourself, a solid foundation for genuine authenticity. Inner transformation isn't immediate or straightforward. It's a journey with ups and downs. Every setback, no matter how small, is an opportunity to rise with more wisdom. It's important to feel your emotions without judgment and to understand that every feeling is part of your path to wholeness. Your goal is to observe without attachment, learn from experience, and avoid letting fear control your actions. True transformation also means setting firm boundaries that protect your energy. By learning from past shadows, you realize you don't have to accept behaviors that encourage emotional dependence. You learn to say no when necessary and prioritize what nourishes and supports you. This self-care becomes the foundation for healthier relationships, connections where both people can grow without repeating harmful cycles. Each time you act from a place of authenticity and inner strength, you send a strong message to the universe and those around you. Your worth isn't tied to outside approval, and your peace is unshakable. It is within this new vibration that true change happens. This isn't about manipulation or strategies. It's a real shift in how you live in the world. Over time, you'll notice new opportunities open easily. People who truly resonate with your essence will be drawn to you, while those who thrived on your dependence will fade away. This natural selection helps you surround yourself with relationships that enrich your life, add value, and encourage your ongoing growth. Every choice you make to favor your well-being reinforces the message that you are enough exactly as you are. This deep confidence is the foundation of genuine relationships. Letting go of what no longer serves you isn't weakness, it's profound wisdom. It's the understanding that real power lies in choosing what feeds your soul and releasing what drains you. As you continue on this path, you will see that silence and indifference, though painful at first, are invitations to reconnect with yourself. They signal that some disconnection has occurred and needs healing, that healing doesn't come from searching outside, but from exploring the vast inner world that has always been inside you. The challenge is to turn every rejection into growth, to learn to love more fully and consciously. By doing this, you free yourself from emotional dependency and become an inspiration to others. Your ability to face indifference with dignity and calm shines as proof that true fulfillment comes from your own inner strength, not outside validation. It all depends on integrating every part of yourself. Each encounter, absence, moment of solitude or connection adds to the masterpiece of your life. Together, these experiences shape a whole person, capable of unconditional love and living in harmony with themselves. This journey isn't easy. It has challenges, doubts, and moments of questioning, but it is deeply rewarding. Along the way, you learn that true change doesn't come from seeking approval or chasing what seems missing. It happens when you realize everything you need has always been within you. Reaching this point is crucial. You begin to see that every experience, silence, reunion, pain, or joy was part of a greater process, discovering your inner power. When you shift your perspective and turn rejection into growth, you reconnect with yourself and open the door to authentic, fulfilling relationships. What once seemed painful now appears as a powerful lesson in self-acceptance and resilience. You understand that your worth isn't defined by others' approval, but by the unwavering strength inside you. And that is where true freedom begins. The journey to integrate your shadow and grow your authenticity isn't solitary. It invites exploration, learning, and sharing. Each time you act from inner peace and awareness, you send a powerful message to the world. Through this honest exchange of energy, real transformation takes hold. Because when you become a light for yourself, you inspire others to do the same. Your presence, growth, and willingness to embrace your whole self create ripples that encourage others to start their own journeys of discovery and empowerment. I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments, join this community of growth, and spread this message to those who need it. True strength is in embracing all of who we are. Every interaction, every like, every comment amplifies this message and helps build a space where we can all learn to turn pain into power, silence into wisdom, and indifference into opportunity. Remember, real transformation starts within. It's not about searching outside for what you've always carried inside. It's about uncovering that inner force that lets you live fully, authentically, and with purpose. Share this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you keep receiving content that encourages you to look within and transform your life. Together, we can reach many people and create a movement of change and awareness that lights the way for those seeking deeper meaning in their relationships and their lives. Thank you for being part of this journey and for inspiring others to discover their true potential.